One. Welcome to another edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. Lance isn't here. Lance is off doing the cabin in the woods thing for his birthday. So you guys are stuck with me, but I did bring one thing familiar to Lance's fans. Jan put some money in the bank account on the weekend, so I had to go out and splurge on some claws, baby.
Nice.
The real deal.
Shout out to our boy Maz, the first round, the Sergio 71 first round leader today. There you go. That was absolutely beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah, golf for those who tail such things has been very profitable thus far in 2021. So
been good. Yeah.
Find your dudes, and Wes has hit a couple NASCAR already. It's not only due to the pandemic, but 2021 is looking up in terms of gambling as well. I am the interim host, Brad Taschuk. Joining me, Wesley Colvin. Wes, what's up?
Yeah, just chilling, man. Don't think we have a card kind of like we did last week. Shout out to our boy Declan here, I guess. It's from Ireland. Says he's finally catching us live. We're going to have like 5 live viewers now tonight, maybe. But yeah, guess we'll try to break down this card. It sure as hell ain't what it was last week. That's for sure.
I hear that
fighting in the main event, so
that's right. Yeah, I hear Declan's a big Thin Izzy fan. You know, he's all about the boys being back in town.
Wes, I'm surprised you're wearing that hat today. I mean, you rep it no matter what. You don't give a fuck. But it's a weird year when you got your boys running how they are.
They said today it's been since '76 since Kentucky and no puke hasn't been in the NCAA tourney at the same year. Yeah, we've had.
All it took was a pandemic.
I mean, and if like Duke kind of went the way that our team has for the past decade with just getting pro players and trying to coach them up the best you can and make a run. But the pandemic this year, man, when you have that talent, it just all the missed practice, all the preseason games you miss, all of that really, really matters for teams. But still, man, it's one of the worst seasons ever. I don't even want to know. I don't think we're gonna get invited to the NIT. I hope we don't.
You will.
Shut it down.
Putting Kentucky in the NIT is gonna get some eyeballs on it that they would normally get, right?
The NIT?
Nah, they're done. They shut their season down.
They shut it down.
They had like COVID shit going on. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I'll give it props. Like we had one false positive that cost us to postpone a game, but no positive test on our team this year. I mean, I guess that's saying something in these times with all the teams and missed games. Like you just see how responsible the team was and how serious they took it. That none of them got a positive test. So, but yeah, now we'll just roll on and get our boy Matty to give us some of those conference winners and try to make some money.
Sean, what's going on in your world?
When does the tourney start, Wes? Is it not for a while still?
No, it'll start next week. I think they're gonna
midweek, Thursday, maybe.
Yeah, it'll be Thursday again, but it's all gonna be in Indy this time. It's weird, like it's gonna be a bubble almost.
At least they're getting a tournament.
Yeah, and we think Ivan put out the tweet earlier. We're doing the bracket again this year, so if anybody wants to get in there, I think we've done it for like 7-8 years or something now. $25, and fill out as many as you want. Come try to. Yeah. Throw darts, flip coins. Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck this year, especially.
Yeah. The link's on our Twitter somewhere, so go find that and sign up if you watch the college basketball, or even if you don't, because it's March Madness and what the fuck else are you going to do in pandemic times?
I mean, it's basically a lottery ticket. I mean, fucking nobody knows what the fuck is going on this year. You might as well and flip some coins. You got a good chance of getting a lot closer than a bunch of other years.
We usually have $500-600 first place pot, so it's not not huge, but not small, you know.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the garage weight champ would have sub Izzy and Jan back to back.
Oh, we'll get there. We will get there.
Back to back.
I mean, do we want to just talk about that right off the hop?
Yeah,
might as well.
Yeah, we might as well.
I think we kind of. I think most of us on the podcast kind of expected what happened. Maybe to do a little bit better and land some shit, but I guess
that was Sean, start off with your thoughts.
Yeah, so I ended up watching it with a buddy of mine, and right from the get-go, we were like, are these guys watching a different fight than we are? Like, the stuff, like, they're just mesmerized. They're talking about fucking Izzy, Jan biting and all of Izzy's feints and shit like that, but just because you feint doesn't mean shit. Like, he wasn't landing anything. So when they were talking, I had Jan up 4-1. I know some people think that's a bit crazy, but he was landing some good shots. I know the commentators were no selling it and shit like that, but he was landing a decent amount, and it wasn't like Izzy was doing much. It was kind of like the YOLO fight, except Jan threw more than YOLO did. Like, it's this I think he was scared of the power. I think that's why Izzy didn't want to throw too much.
I think there's some very clear patterns emerging with Izzy, but before I get to that, Wes, what was your take on the main?
Yeah, well, first, I mean, this was just a complete no-win situation for Izzy in the first place. I have no idea why he took this fight. He should have never took this fight. I mean, even if he would have went up there and we talked about it. Even if he would have went up there and won that, he beat
some journeyman, some shitty champ.
Wouldn't have mattered. All it would have been is a dumbass double champ shit that nobody really cares much about anymore anyway. Yeah. So just from that fact, it was dumb to begin with. But I don't know. I thought I was watching it kind of lit like usual on a pay-per-view. So. But I thought they were some close rounds, but Jan was doing more for me. I saw a few people that had it tied up going into the 5th round, which I couldn't like completely argue against that. Like, they were close. I could see somebody favoring Izzy a little bit, like the movement and the feints and stuff it does mesmerize people though. Jan was landing enough, and was completely right, man. The size and the strength was way too much for Izzy. Not even just physically, but mentally too. You could tell that he fought up a scared game that entire fight. I mean, we saw how he reacted to Paula when Paula was throwing shit. Still wasn't really afraid of his power. I didn't think he was Jan. And you could see
would actually throw back instead of doing
and you could see those guys together. Like, people are usually they look at the height and shit, but man, when you see those guys weigh in with their shirts off and shit, you can see the difference in those men. Like, but yeah, I hate to take something a lot away from Izzy coming out of this fight. You do got to downgrade him a little bit. He went up there and lost to a guy that I think we talked about, one of the luckiest champs ever to get a belt. But the thing that will always probably piss me off more than anything is that we got that bullshit over Glover getting a legitimate shot at a title in his career when he still got a chance to compete. And I'm telling you, I think he would have beat either one of those guys. Like, seriously, I think Izzy could have probably caught him a couple times or something, but we know what would have happened. Like, Glover wouldn't have sat back like YOLO. Glover would have went right at that dude, tried to get him down, and choke his ass out. I think Glover would have looked better against Izzy than even Jan did. And that's what sucks the most, man, is that Glover didn't get a shot.
Yeah.
Now Jan wants 6 months off before he fights.
Here we go. Cut fucking Jan.
They scared, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to wait. He's trying to wait till the pandemic's over. So
yeah, he is. So Glover's got to like go to some other
gym.
He's not in the garage.
That's never going to happen. Glover's never leaving that gym. But yeah, as far as a dumb, unnecessary fight goes, it had the absolute perfect result for me.
Perfect.
Yep. I loved it. The people that scored it for Izzy, you really had to want him to win that fight. Because even
how big a fan I am, and I couldn't score for him.
I'm a big fan. I know Lance hates him, and you're... I don't know how you truly feel about Izzy, but
I'm lukewarm on Izzy.
Yeah.
I'm lukewarm. But he fights with the confidence of a dude that definitely jerks off to anime porn. So like 0, negative.
Lots of tentacle stuff. Lots of tentacle stuff.
Oh shit!
But he really needs his opponent to open up and give him opportunities. He's not the kind of guy that's going to create opportunities for himself. So Jan just was super patient in there, and Izzy did not want to go shot for shot with a guy that was 30 pounds bigger than him. So
I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him in that sense either. And then once Jan started to mix in the grappling, that was a pretty pathetic performance from Izzy. I know it was round 4 and 5, but it was round 4 and 5 in a fight where not a ton happened. But he looked like he had no clue how to get back to his feet in that fight.
Or get to the cage even. He wasn't even trying to like squirm over to the cage to try to help him get up. He was flat on his back. And
yeah, that was a rough look. And especially after earlier in the night, it really looks like shitty kickboxing. Their strategy on the ground is, well, maybe the guy will try and choke you and he'll fuck up and you can stand up. But there's nothing there in terms of grappling. I said, it's the upgraded version of SBG. And
come on, man.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I ain't going. That's what it
is. That's what it is.
No,
that's fucked up. You've gone too far, Brad.
Yeah,
nope.
You've gone too far.
Just a little bit.
The Jan decision prop plus 1,000. Beautiful stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah, Wes and I were lit on the Zoom with Andrew, and that's how she goes. Always better to enjoy fights like that.
Yeah, I had some inside the distance. I figured if Jan would win myself, it would be getting Izzy out of there with something. But hindsight and looking at how that fight was probably going to play out too, like it was a good angle to look at and actually put some money on. Great
that was badly priced.
Because there was a chance. There was a real chance that could happen.
Well, even I think it was after round 3. I listened to our boys Paul and Cody, their show today, because it's a day after we normally record.
Yep.
And Paul was saying that the Jan decision prop after round 3 was still like plus 800 or plus 850 or something like that live.
After seeing what was happening,
he was a decent underdog at that point. Still.
Yeah, he was still like plus 2 something or. Yeah. But yeah, that was nuts, because at that point you knew the fight was going to go the distance.
Yeah, it was close.
There wasn't enough happening. And then after round 4, it was down to plus 110.
Yeah. Even that's badly priced.
Yes, very badly. But yeah, it's fun, man. It was an interesting thing to watch, and I think there's a little bit of a blueprint out there for guys facing Izzy. So there's a couple guys at middleweight that I would bet at plus 200.
Yeah, let's go there for 1 minute. One, I think the lines are going to be a little bit more condensed now, coming back down with whoever he fights. But
which is fine with me, because in certain matchups, he's still going to run over people.
Yeah, I'm just, who at 85 though, like legitimately, like would seriously worry you against the guy right now?
I think Whitaker has a serious chance, because since that knockout, he's fighting way more patient. And I think that's what it's not as much the size. I think it's guys being patient that really gives Izzy fits. And I think Whittaker being patient, and he can also mix in his wrestling a little bit. I think that could be very interesting. And then, like, honestly, I still believe that if Costa does something in there against him, that
there's a chance. There's
it's not going to be a repeat of the first one.
No, with Whittaker though.
Costa. Come on.
I think Izzy after his first fight wouldn't have enough respect for Whittaker to where he would let Whittaker be slow and shit on him like that. If he does, you're possibly right that Whittaker could. I don't know. Now I am intrigued. I want to see how he does in this next one because it's going to tell us. But we need to give Vettori a shot. If he beats Till in decent fashion, which I think he probably will. I just don't know if it's going to look good enough because Till's going to do what Till does and going to lose a decision to Vettori, and he's just not going to look good enough. So, but it's just another fresh name, you know.
That could happen sooner than later. I mean, if Costa beats Whittaker, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be Jonesing to get that rematch done. And I think Vettori, if he
don't say Jonesing around Izzy, all right?
Might scare him away.
Has night terrors when you say that.
I'll say something on that too. Like I don't know if it was many people out of Izzy or outside of him himself and the people around him, but just the slightest talk.
Do you remember
of that
the odds in that fight were? They put out one of those future ones.
He could have fucking smoked Jan, and I still would have found that shit laughable. Absolutely laughable.
There's still a future line. Future line at Bet Online. Jones minus 150.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep They're
just trying to hold some money. Yeah.
Even still, that line in hindsight.
If it actually happened and I got John Jones at even money against Izzy, I would get as much down at as many places I could. I'd tell the wife that it's happening and
baby, we're taking out a second mortgage.
Yeah, baby, it's happening. If we lose it, we do. But I'm telling you, I think we're going to Hawaii, you know, when we get the shot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude, that's nuts. And could you imagine there was talk of, and it was him saying it, yeah, I'm gonna win this belt and we're gonna heavyweight. Could you even imagine him against Stipe? Stipe would dump that kid on his head. He would literally dump that kid on his head, man.
Yep. It's rough.
Stipe is two of him.
That was a
weight
bad
classes for a reason.
That was a bad decision. It was a bad decision, man. It really it's different going from 155 to 170 or 145 to 155. It's completely different going from 185 to 205. You're fighting heavyweights. You're straight. You're pretty much fighting heavyweights at that weight class.
I mean, I'm pissed for him doing it because he fucked over Glover for the time being anyway. It just sucks that there's nothing really at 85.
Yeah.
I mean, who is he going to fight if he didn't fight at light heavyweight? I don't know. I guess they could have just tossed him. I don't know.
All right. Hypothetical. Izzy Usman. What's the line?
I mean, Izzy's going to be favored.
What's the line, or how much would I be betting on Usman?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's two different questions. Yeah, definitely.
That would be interesting.
Izzy is decent. His takedown defense is decent against the fence. So I think he would struggle against people that only can take you against the fence. But if you get a good wrestler, he can be taken down in the middle of a cage.
Well, the other thing is Jan isn't a great wrestler, and he took Izzy down in the middle of the cage pretty easily.
BSG, just bigger, stronger guy. It wasn't. Man.
All right, we spent enough time on this one. It was a fun thing to watch. Even though the fight itself wasn't the greatest, but it was fun to watch it play out. First fight of the night, we had bantamweight division, Trevin Jones with the weird shovel hook that Rogan and DC went on about for 17 minutes because apparently they've never seen a shovel hook before. But he knocked out Mario Batista, who I had never heard of, and I don't think I will ever hear of again. Sean?
Yeah, I thought Batista had something before this fight. I guess not. I don't know. Jones must have some big power. I mean, he's
got a
done
little bit
pretty
of pop
good so far for himself.
Yeah. I don't think he's great, but there's not a lot of guys that consistently knock people out at bantamweight. Wes?
Yeah, pretty much what y'all said. I don't know much about Jones. He apparently hits hard, so they gotta give him some A, slightly better than Mario Balotelli.
The fake doctor came out and he looked like a dude moving down from welterweight against a dude moving up from featherweight. He just absolutely bodied Alon. Put him at the back of the class. Sean?
Yeah, I don't have much to say. There were some people on Cruz. I just wanted to say there were
some people
way better options on this fight card. So I just stayed away. I got nothing.
Anything, Wes?
Yeah, there were quite a few people I saw on Cruz, and I'm with you. Like, all of the spots on this card, and that's the guy that was getting some of your money. I ended up taking a little of Medic late. I think he came down a little bit, around like minus 160 or something like that, minus 155. It was a small bet, but yeah, that was just an absolute trucking.
And atrocious stoppage. All time,
baby. We're getting one of these a card, man. We're getting one of these a card. That one was extra bad, but we're getting one shitty stoppage or something happen every fucking card these days.
Yeah, that's Next one wasn't great either, but on the other side, I know it was the second time she got dropped, but it
wasn't good stoppage.
That was a WMA stoppage right there.
That was the patriarch coming through in that one. Amanda Lemos. And on Tapology, it says power jab to ground and pound, but it kind of just looked like a regular jab, and she fell over, and then it got stopped. Anything to add on here?
Nice jab.
Chick.
I mean, she's got some striking for like 100 and whatever pound chick.
You can complain about chicks that finish. I mean, that division is bad enough that when girls can actually have enough power to finish people, you got to give them props, because it could be worse. You could be watching it for 15 minutes.
Sean, did you ever watch the show Orphan Black?
No.
It's a Canadian show, so I don't think Wes would have watched it.
No, I know what you're talking about, though. But
Souza looks like the drug-addled boyfriend of one of the main characters. She's not a good looking person.
That's what fighting's for.
All right, next up, welterweight division, future champ Wes, Sean Brady, third round arm triangle over Jake Matthews. I know you're not buying in.
I wouldn't say not. Look, we saw it. Like, people were. This guy's already champ.
People go too far.
Yeah, he was already champ. Yeah, good performance though. I got suckered in and bet Matthews again for the last time. For the last time.
Say that now, but they're gonna give him a scrub next time. They're gonna fucking parlay him.
It ain't happening again, because he looked really, really bad. Like, that kid is just, he's the same fighter he was 5 years ago. Like, you can't be at this level training in your dad's. It's got to be your own garage, bringing over some fighters. You can't be training in your parents' garage.
Unless your dad is Glover.
Exactly. Now, Glover's kid from his garage, goddamn, you might be a champion. But not Jake Matthews.
You say that, Wes. Yeah, Jake Matthews was winning the stand-up against Sean Brady, future champion, for parts of this fight.
For most of it on the feet, he was piecing Brady up. But still, we know what Matthews does. Like, he's gonna one of the takedowns, like in the third, I think it was tied going into the third, And he literally gets some dumbass little takedown and gets put on his back for the entire fight. Like,
he's done.
Yeah. But
I just think that's more of an indictment on Brady. I think
on
in
Matthews
matchups
and Brady.
with somebody with takedown defense and decent striking, that's gonna be a good test for that guy.
He's in the seeds planted. The seeds planted. I was shoved.
He's got hype. I mean, he's good against certain guys.
I mean, I was digging the hole in the second round. Like,
here we go.
It's planted.
I like Brady. I like his top game. I don't think there's a lot of guys that are able to stop his wrestling that can also outstrike him. I think most of the guys that can stop his wrestling, he can outstrike. So we'll see. But did a lot of cool shit in that fight from the ground. He knew Matthews had that like hole with his guillotine defense and like front headlock defense. And he just kept using it to maintain position and then eventually flipped to the arm triangle and finished him off. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yep.
Next up, shitty kickboxing, baby.
Shitty.
This was so much fun. Kenny Nunchucks with the Overeem impression, backing up against the cage, shelling up and just waiting. Just waiting for his opponent to gas out, and boy, howdy.
Rogan and them had that fight over like 17 times.
Oh,
like,
my God.
There was so many times he's like, he's not doing anything. He's getting hit all. That was good.
Which he wasn't at certain points, which didn't look great. But I'm pissed that Bet365 did not have live lines for the old fucking early prelims. I know you tweeted that out, Brad.
Yeah,
I was waiting to put down some money on old Kenny Nunchucks, but didn't get my chance. But that was shitty kickboxing. I guess they don't work on cardio, or maybe that's just that guy.
I mean, like we talked about it last week, but 3-0, never fought anybody good. Kenny Nunchucks isn't good, but at least he's been in there. Like a few times. I don't know.
Yeah, he stayed really calm while he was catching punches and Rogan and them yelling him for it to stop. Oh, I will say, dude looked like a world beater against O'Kenny until he just absolutely gassed the fuck out. He was catching some punches in the first, but he was still in there. He could, roll with him and shit when he still had some stamina. But goddamn, he hit a wall like our Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Not that hard, but he hit a pretty hard fucking wall in the second round.
Before we get to that wall, though, Jordan Espinosa found himself in the cage with a man, and that didn't go well for him.
Not a woman, apparently.
Not a woman.
Did you guys see like the girl that allegedly, not allegedly, it happened.
Yeah.
That Espinosa like choked out. She posted her story on Twitter or Facebook or something like that.
Damn.
It's not a good look. So, I mean, we had
to
money.
Be there, Brad. You had to be there.
We had money on Tim Elliott. I think all of us did.
Yes,
so that made it good. And then finding out that little piece of backstory, even better. But man, this was
stress-free.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how you kind of hoped it would go.
Yeah. You don't get many bets like that.
No, I mean, I know it's all hindsight after the fact, but good Lord, that was just so bad. Like he was minus 115 or something. I mean, I didn't think it would be that easy, but I think we all thought that line was crazy. Like the entire week we saw it. Brad posted in our chat, like when the lines came out, like Tim Elliott's lines off. Like it was bad for. I don't know who was like betting this evenly.
I don't know how it was staying where it was.
Yeah, I mean that was absolutely crazy, man. Like Tim Elliott is so much better than this guy. And then we talked about it on the show, like he just fights differently now. You can actually see how skilled the dude is when he's not jumping all over the place trying to grab subs and shit and giving up position. And he can do damage and win fights in a good fashion and look good, like beating the shit out of people on the ground. You don't have to like go for crazy chokes and shit to look decent on the mat. You can drop hammers like he did. Mm-hmm. I mean, can we just serve up Tim Elliott like wife beaters for now on? And
works for me.
Hey, even when Elliott got cut in that fight, he just smeared his own blood.
Yes, dude. Like watching it, you're like, man, he like is being nasty with this dude, and then come to find out, you're like, that's why he was like being brutal with that guy.
Yep.
Speaking of brutal, there's a lot of stuff that was brutal about this fight that all made it incredible. Yep. Wes shit his pants 3 times and then ended up winning a bet.
Yep.
Bone tearing, he was tearing it up, and then ended up doing the question mark to finish off James Vick's YMCA. Like,
I mean, he went straight from the bone tearing to the ass tearing position because that dude, he got me my most likes on, an edibles tweet in quite a while because that dude was fucking face down, ass up. I lost it, man. I was writing that shit completely off, and man, France, he got him. Like, hey, give old France props too for like, you pretty much thought that was done. The time he had on,
he could have got out if he wanted to get out there.
Yeah, he could have got the fuck out. He had every reason to get out of there, and he didn't. And yeah, I'll take it, man. Like, they owe me a lot. The MMA universe betting owes me a lot of those, and I will take it. And that was a fucking awesome KO. That was so fucking good.
Oh yeah. Anything to add there, Sean?
Just your weekly Herb Dean special of indecisiveness, early or late stoppage. This fight had everything, man.
Next up, the first of the cheating Russians on the night. Fucking Mukmukov misses weight, comes in looking like a featherweight against Joey Benavidez, and then just beats the brakes off of him. This one was kind of sad to watch. Even if you had money on Askarov, this one was pretty sad to watch.
I wish I would have had money on Askarov, but I'm an absolute fuck. No, I mean, I talked about it. This happens every now and then. Where I have a different opinion than all 3 of y'all, and it's a good thing though. Like, I respect y'all's opinions on the fights, and we'll get to talking about them. And I still favored Joe B to win there. I just ended up passing because I was like, man, they really like Joe B. Make a good case. I can see him winning. Then he gets up to like plus 125. So then, of course, I talked myself into betting Joe B. So I went from complete one side. Every time I do that, though, it's always ended up bad for all of us. Like, it never, ever wins. So for now on, one of y'all 3 are going to win. I'm going to lose, or it's going to go the other way. It's not happening again. But Joe B he's done, man. Like, he looked real bad in that fight. He looked like how I thought he was going to look. Maybe not even to that extent, because he looked really bad, man.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
No, obviously underestimated Askarov.
Out wrestling, Joe B's gonna out wrestle him, dog. Like, come on, Wes. Joe B's gonna out wrestle this guy. He was getting fucking picked up, power bombed on his head. I didn't think he would out
wrestle him. I just thought he would be able to stuff whatever, or get up, even if he gets.
I thought he'd be able to get up.
Yeah, but. That's. I think we've seen enough from Joe B. I'm sure he can beat a bunch of shittier flyweights, but there's no point continuing.
They're not going to give him those kind of fights, is the thing. So
so we'll get to see the cheating Russian against likely in a title shot next.
Is he good? I think he might be kind of good.
Might be pretty good.
I think he is. I think
he's all right. Bad. He's definitely not getting a title shot next, though. I mean, he missed weight.
Got to make weight, yeah. You're gonna have to make.
That's a bad look, especially in hindsight with looking so good and beating a big name guy. That's
he was one of those guys.
It's flyweights, so who else are we gonna fucking give it to?
Hey, we'll see. Maybe a guy this weekend. Actually, probably not, because one of them lost and the other one just came back into the UFC. Anyway, a couple guys that we're probably going to see a lot more from in the coming years. Bantamweights, Kyler Phillips, just beat up your dong. Just beat him off. I don't know. I got nothing there. Kyler Phillips is good, man.
He beat that dong for about 2 rounds till he kind of got tired, and then it was a little more even of a beating in the third. But yeah, that guy's good. I think there's a lot of people he would have put out there. I don't know what the dong is made of, but it seems to be pretty granite-like. Yeah, Phillips is good, especially for a young guy. He's got a lot of skills. He's going to be a good one.
When all the blood rushes away from your head to your dong, it doesn't matter if you get kicked in the head. No effect.
True.
Yeah, I like Phillips a lot. We discussed it. I thought this fight was going to tell us a lot for both of the guys, but the winner coming out of it, I still like the dong, man. Like, I don't think he did bad for himself in this fight. Like, I think he was just fighting a really, really good young fighter that's probably a little more advanced at him at this stage. I still see big things for Jourdain in the future, man. I think he's a good fighter. His stand-up's really good. He's got good wrestling, at least defensive wrestling. Like, he's not a bad fighter. Phillips is just, he could be the truth. Like, I'm convinced now after watching that against a really, really good fighter. I think Phillips could be the truth.
Yeah, this was one that I was hesitant to play because, I'd seen Jourdain in there against top 15 guys and he was competitive, and I thought Phillips was good. Turns out he is, and I don't think we're going to see a plus number beside his name for a couple fights at least until he gets up to that upper echelon.
He was plus 190 at close. That is nuts.
I mean, yeah, we were we in the chat by that point? I think we were. And I was like, yeah, he got up to plus 180 and I took some, Wes, but
ridiculous.
Yeah, I took like plus 140 or plus 145. I thought that was great. Good. I can't believe it's a lot of dong money.
You guys got to pay for the package before you get those bets. Another guy that had a little bit of a plus number beside his name, Dominic Cruz, just comes out and hey, that's that was a vet performance from a guy that a lot of people don't like, but I liked him because he made me some money. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I expected. I did think Kenny is pretty good and he'll beat a lot of guys at that weight, but Cruz is still decent. I like how he barely wrestled, even though Lance tried to tell me that Dominic
again
is a wrestler.
Him and Joby
the whole commentary team is only talking about his striking, of course. Fucking whatever. Yeah, Cruz is still okay. I think he still is. He is slowing down, and he is going to get caught by the top, 5 guys in that weight class.
I feel like he's aware of that too.
Yeah. Especially after that fight.
Yeah,
he got hit in that fight more than he has in a lot.
Kenny landed about 72 lefts on him in that fight. I mean, it was closer than what a lot of people. I don't know. I see most people thought it was close. That fight was close, man. Like it was really, really close. Kenny got a card. I thought Dom won. Like I even bet Kenny. I thought he did, but I think it was the second or third. I mean, Kenny fucked him up, man. Kenny was landing all over his head with that left hook. Dom was the slightly better guy that night. I still think he's about, I mean, Kenny was putting it on him at points in that fight, man. Dom looked really, really good for 5 minutes. Like really, really good in the first round. And man, he slowed bad. You usually don't see Dom slow down like that in fights, and that's not a good sign. I thought he was going to kind of look more like that the entire fight, and he didn't. He got a good first round and a half. So yeah, props on the plus money.
Sean, Jerry says your volume's fucked. It sounds all right to me, but maybe I'm just talking loud.
I turned it up, so if I'm smashing your ears, it's Jerry's fault.
All right, we're good. As far as that fight goes, I made fun of Kenny before the fight, called him Kmart Cruz, and he was that at the start, and he was getting pieced up trying to do it, and then he just it looked like he adjusted because he just started walking forward and winging shit, and that's when he started having success against Dom, and then. Third round was competitive, and Dom gets the takedown at the end, and that kind of sealed it for him. So, fun fight, better than I expected it to be, and I think Dom and Frankie next, right?
No. It's got to be Dom against the Monster Energy guy, whoever the fuck that is. That's
Hans Moleman.
That's got to be the fight because apparently this dude's a psycho that makes fighters come over and give him massages. I don't know about that, but it sounds like he's crazy.
Get a sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, if that pic is real of Dom riding around on handlebars of a bike with him and shit, it's some kind of photo shoot. Like, man, that's. I don't know if the sponsorship's worth it. I don't know.
Dom doesn't want it anymore. He's been
he's done. He's ready to fight him now.
That's right. All right, moving up to the main card. Not going to take a lot of time on this one because nothing happened. Alexander Rakic. I am still not dissuaded from my notion that he fights scared.
Straight up. That was a terrible fight.
Yeah.
Both fighters need to be downgraded.
It's a good thing that anybody saw that already bought the pay-per-view. I'm not sure too much that I would necessarily downgrade Rakic because I'm just still have him about where I thought he was because I think he could do that against most guys. Like if that's what he decides to do, and you're right, he's scared of power. Like I think he caught some against was it Volkan or something? A few fights back, like that guy does not want to swing with anybody, especially Santos. Like you could see he was scared of that power, but the guy can get inside and get guys down, man, and hold them there. So I mean, that's a decent commodity in that weight class.
That's just how shitty light heavyweight is.
Absolutely, Glover fucks him up.
Yeah.
A Polish dude out wrestles a champion from another division to hold on to the title. An Austrian dude just clinches and out wrestles dudes to win fights. Light heavyweight is a wasteland. Save us, Glover. Save us.
Come on.
Second cheating Russian of the night. Islam Makhachev, mac and cheese, decided to grapple with Drew Dober. That's not allowed.
Surprise.
That's some bullshit right there. I don't think any of us are shocked by this outcome.
I was happy to hit my mac and cheese inside the distance. I think everybody kind of assumed this. I think Dober's takedown defense was even worse than I expected.
Yeah, we all kind of said this is how this fight was going to go down. Some of us and some other people were like, no, but I'm still going to bet Dober knock this guy out.
Yeah, we got to bring that shit up when that happens because he's going to bring it up every time he hits a fucking... Yeah,
you never hear about the darts that land in the waitress's fucking the back of her head. You know what I'm saying? You just hit the ones that land on the bullseye. But we all called that. Now, I will say that was some slick shit from old mac and cheese, man. I mean, Dober's usually been pretty durable on the mat because he's been there so fucking much. You know what I'm saying? Like he's usually a tough guy to get out of there. And that was some slick shit from mac and cheese. Props to him. Like at least he finished the fight.
And he was going for shit. Well, in the first anyway.
Sub was like 350 and I might have snaked a little bit around 3 as well. But yeah, Steve was commenting about the over 1.5 was sex in the Rakic and Santos fight. I'm not sure if he's confusing the dick pic that I sent him along with the over 1.5 I told him to bet, but either way, he had a good night.
It was a parlay. It was a good parlay.
Right. All right. Third cheating Russian of the night. We got the hat trick. Smooth brain Jan, greatest fighter in the world, apparently. Doesn't know the rules. Didn't win. I don't care what you want to say about it.
He didn't win.
He didn't.
He did not win.
No, he
did
lost.
Some stupid shit.
He absolutely lost the fight. We can start with that for sure.
He might have been winning the fight.
Oh, he was.
But so was Bone Terran. So was Carlsberg. Like, a lot of people win fights until they lose fights. He was winning the fight. I mean, he started out losing the fight, and then he was winning the fight, and then he lost the fight.
This might be one of the biggest fuck-ups from a defending champion in a fight in a long, long time.
Yo, it's one of the worst ever. It really, I don't think a title's ever changed hands on a disqualification like that.
The dumbass threw like an axe kick like the fucking round before that while Aljo was on the ground. Like, if he fucking lands that on Aljo's head, he fucking gets DQ'd there too. Like, not a smart fighter, considering he's a champion. When you're in a championship fight, you have to fight cautiously when it comes to certain positions. That's how it is. Not according to Jan. He just does what the fuck he wants.
And I actually was thinking the same thing. Like, people bring up John Jones and Anthony Smith. I actually 100% thought that fight was over and Anthony Smith was going to be champion.
It should have been.
Anthony Smith's an idiot. He's an idiot. He should have took that belt. Look, you don't like, oh, that dude's got to be strong and fight. You have no idea what a dude's feeling like when he takes a fucking knee to his dome. One that he's not expecting. That's the whole problem. And Aljo even said it. I didn't know it was going to happen. That's the main problem. Like, dudes take knees to their head all the time and keep fighting. Not when they're not expecting it. Those are usually knockout blows.
Yeah, flat lines.
Look, props to Jan. Like, Jan looked really good. I thought that was going to be a close ass fight. We all thought that was going to be a close fight. Like, Jan's really fucking good. You lost that fight. Rules are part of this sport. It's not a fucking no holds barred 1997 fight. You can't do that. I think you should be allowed to do that. Like, I've advocated for that for years. You should absolutely be able to throw a knee there. You can't, though. You know the rules.
But this is your profession. You have to know the rules. Like, that is the most ignorant shit I've ever seen. In any other profession, you need to know the rules of your fucking job. Except supposedly in fucking MMA, you don't have to. And you can just be like, oh, I fucking didn't know. I know we're going to different states. Who cares? You got to know where the fuck you're fighting, what the rules are.
That's a universal.
Isn't a downed fighter.
Yeah, that's that's a universal rule in fighting, unless you're fighting in certain parts of the world that he hasn't fought in years. Like, that's a universal rule. I mean, as far as the fight goes, like Brad was saying, Aljo did look good in that fight. I think he got real hyped up and too, man. I feel like he almost had a dump after that first round. I know he's had a little bit of cardio stuff in the past, but he did look like he slowed a lot. Started overextending with a lot of shit that he never does, throwing some dumb shit that you've never seen him throw in fights. So I don't know if mental fatigue and everything else, but props to Jan. He was winning that fight and looking good until he wasn't, and that's the sport. Aljo's the champ, and I mean, I know we kid around and shit, but I would run that back. I know.
Of course they are.
Well, I mean, I'm somebody else on this show that probably doesn't think that, but they're gonna run that back, and I think they should. And I think, me personally, I think the fight is a little bit different again. Like, there's absolutely adjustments and shit that Aljo can do different going into the next fight. They don't throw dumb spinning shit constantly. Don't do energy wasting.
Just don't blow your wad.
Yeah, don't.
Like, you need to pace yourself. Like, you do have good enough striking that you can pace yourself, and now you don't have to waste as much effort trying to go for takedowns because you're probably not going to get them.
Yeah, his takedown defense is better than even what most people thought. And the difference is Aljo's going to be +2, +220 in the next fight, and I'm actually going to take a little bit more.
I mean, the way people are talking about the fight, apparently Jan's going to be like -600 in the rematch because it was a complete blowout. I've never seen such a dominant performance.
Zero blame to Sterling. The UFC has fucked him around so much.
That's a big thing.
Forced into giving him this title shot. So if he lost, he probably never gets a fucking title shot ever again. He probably gets fucked over and whatever. So, man, take that. Get pay-per-view points. Get paid. The UFC makes way too much money off these guys' backs for them to make dumb decisions like not taking an easy out.
He never gets another shot. If he continues to fight there, gets up and gets knocked out clean after that, which probably more than likely would happen, he'd never get another title shot. And one last thing, fuck everybody that like I think I don't want to say he played it up, but he was absolutely hurt there. And I don't care if he got back his wits back to him a little bit and could have probably continued and maybe even won. We've seen guys do that. That's beside the point. I don't care what other guys have done in that spot. There's no way he should have got back up and kept fighting Jan. And it wasn't no fucking straight acting job and shit like that. That dude took a knee clean to the fucking head without knowing it was coming. He was hurt. He was hurt bad.
Like, this is 2021. Every sport has concussion protocols. If somebody has a concussion during the game, they don't let them go back in. Like the fact that people think like the stuff I've seen on Twitter from these fucking Russians is just absurd. Some of the dumbest shit I've seen in 15 plus years of watching the dumbest sport imaginable. But Wes, you said earlier that both guys look good. I thought both guys kind of looked bad and weird and out of sorts in this fight, especially Sterling. He came out and then once his grappling didn't work and Jan started to take him down, he got real frantic and just started throwing every
shit we never seen. Yeah, shit we never seen.
But when he was just striking, I thought he was having decent success. And I think that could translate to a rematch. I think we learned in that fight that as much as Jan can prevent himself from getting taken down and even take Sterling down at times, he really doesn't want to grapple with him.
No.
Like, there was probably 15 times in that fight where he was standing over top of him and he could have gone down into his guard or tried to pass his guard or tried to land stuff from the top and didn't want to do any of it. So I think a rematch is going to be interesting. If I can get plus 300 on Sterling, which I think is a legitimate possibility, I'll take it. I think you'd be kind of crazy not to. Would I favor Jan? Absolutely, after what we saw. But yeah, it's a more competitive fight than the line will indicate. But that doesn't matter because Sterling should fight the real champ instead of that paper Russian champ. He needs to fight Henry Cejudo. Jan never beat the champ to win the belts.
That's another thing. Like people saying Aljo's a paper champ. Like, who did Jan actually legit? He didn't never beat the actual champ to get his belt in the first place. And besides, like, look, Jan threw the illegal shot. None of this is Aljo's fault. None of it. Not any of it. All this started because Jan threw an illegal shot.
Yep. And it's not Jan's corner's fault, even though they're racist. I mean, Russian people are so racist, they wouldn't even have black slaves back in the day. It's nobody's fault but Jan's. And he has blamed everybody except being like, maybe I fucked up.
Yep.
So fuck that dude. He can get in the back of the line and work his way up. Yeah, and that does it because nothing else happened on the card. Actually, wait.
I won some money.
Yes, you did. That was excellent. I lost $25 because I was hoping for something stupid to happen. No, I was hoping that like there would be the dad bomb quit or something. Something weird would happen with things. But given everything that Jan did, dumbest move of the night, Megan Anderson shooting for a takedown on Amanda Nunes.
Or what's worse, getting fucking hammered, like hammers thrown at you and you don't know what to do about it, that you're forced to shoot a takedown. Like, it was like your only chance.
Showing up to the arena in the first place.
Yeah. Taking that fight.
That was a joke, man. What an absolute joke that weight class is.
But
absolute joke.
Is it still a weight class anymore? Did we all just win our year-end pick?
Let's hope so.
Yeah,
there's a chance.
Let's hope so.
There's actually a chance.
What else? I feel like I think we covered everything. I think we covered just about everything. What was that?
We took a little while.
It was a good card.
Well, there was 15 fucking fights. Nothing got canceled. What the fuck?
Yeah. That was a hell
I mean, knowing that, we're gonna get like 4 cancellations on this card.
Good. Get it over with as early as possible.
There's a couple that I don't want to be canceled, but a lot that I would not give a fuck about.
I'd trade like two or three to one here on some shit, you know.
Well, we said last week you've got all these terrible cards and then this one awesome card. And I mean, nothing shows it better than going from last week to this week. So we've got UFC Vegas 21 fight night 197. I don't know, something like that. 87? Was I actually
187?
Oh shit, nice.
There you go.
Yeah, we're gonna start it off in the welterweight division. We have Jason Witt against Matthew Semelsberger. Sean?
I got absolutely nothing on these guys. Both these guys I think are pretty terrible. The vanilla gorilla. I thought they were going away with something. I thought they got rid of that or something.
No, that was Chase Sherman. They cut him.
Oh right, yeah, that's right.
This is a different vanilla gorilla.
I was surprised he got a win last time out. I thought he was gonna, get smashed by Sato on a day's notice, lose his next fight, and then we'll never see him again. But he somehow found somebody even shittier than he is. So that was surprising. I'll pick Semelsberger, but I give zero shits about this fight.
Wesley?
Yeah, I don't have a lot on a side here. I do think both of these guys are pretty mooky at this point, but I think they could finish the other mook. I think either one of them has a little bit of finishing prowess in them, and if I bet anything, it's going to be fight doesn't go to decision or something like that. I think there's going to be a finish here, but man, I just don't know enough to pick a side here. I'll probably just take whoever's the dog by the time Tout Master closes.
Yeah, I think initially I was leaning towards Witt because there was like a plus 130 beside his name. Now that it's even, I have no opinion on this fight other than both of these guys seem very finishable. So you got under 1.5 hanging around at plus 175. You got under 2.5 hanging around at even money, somewhere around there. So I think somebody's probably going to get stopped because have these guys ever lost a decision in their career? So we'll have to see. But I think somebody's getting stopped in this one. Next up. Holy wow. These are supposed to start at 4 in the afternoon?
5,
something
I think.
like that.
5 Eastern, something like that.
Ugh.
We've got Jinyu Frey Song taking on Gloria de Paula in the strawweight division, and then Courtney Casey taking on JJ Aldrich in the flyweight division. Both of those sound like awful things, but they're back-to-back. So I've got an hour to take Turk out for a walk.
Get it out of the way early.
Yeah.
Frey is not good, and she is small for this weight class. If you need to bet a fucking terrible women's strawweight fight, you should probably
Don't
bet
do it to
Paula.
him, Sean.
I'm not doing it. I'm not fucking touching it. I'm just saying if somebody else needs action on every fucking fight, I would fade Frey. And I'd probably bet Aldrich, but I will do neither because I have a little more self-respect than that.
Wes, opinions?
Yeah, Frey is absolutely terrible. I'm gonna pick Paula, but no way I'm touching that fight. I actually like Casey against Aldridge, but I ain't touching that fight either. But I'm gonna pick her because she's the dog in Townmaster. Let's never talk about these again.
Yeah, there's two low-level women's MMA fights. So if you're betting anything, I don't care what the guys just said about Frey sucking and being small. If you're betting anything, bet the one that has the plus beside their name. That's the way you do it, Sean. Alexis Davis won.
That was so bad. That was so fucking
very
2
true.
weeks ago.
That's so bad.
God.
Like you can't tell me that there's any better strategy than just betting dogs in this low level shit. Speaking of low level shit, this guy is 12-0. Never heard of him in my life. García taking on Nasrat Haqparast, German Gastelum, if you will. Sean?
Second stage of meth use, gasoline.
You're not tuning in to Combate, Brad? You're not a real fight fan?
I am not. I am a filthy casual.
That's fair in this case. Yeah, I haven't seen Garcia fight. Seems like he's a jiu-jitsu guy based on all his subs. I guess I'm a bit surprised that Haqparast's number isn't larger, but maybe Garcia is decent, but Haqparast should dust this guy, but Haqparast has choked a couple times, so I don't know if I would put my money on him.
Wes?
Yeah, that's the only thing that's kept me off of it. I mean, I think he opened at like minus 360 or something around there, a little bit lower than what it is now.
It's finally getting hit.
Yeah, I still don't think it's high enough. I've watched this guy fight a couple times. I can't remember it. I mean, he's beaten, Humberto Bandelays, like just UFC cast-offs from 7-8 years ago and shit. Everston Pena and shit. Like these are just guys that have been through the UFC, got their asses kicked, and been out of the UFC for years. And I mean, Haqparast should do the job here. Man, Sean's right. He's been in some spots a couple times. It's like he's gonna roll, and then but he should roll here. I'm gonna pick him, and I'm probably gonna pass on a bet here.
I will have you know that Humberto Bandelays fought in the UFC in 2019, sir.
Oh, it was pretty recent. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also your pronunciation of Esteban Payan.
I butchered that one, didn't I? That's what I do. That's what I do, man.
When did he fight? That was a long time ago. I remember a couple weird losses for him, like beating the shit out of Robbie Peralta and then getting finished in the third round. But I don't know. This Garcia guy has fought dudes that have been at this level. I don't necessarily think he's going to come out here and beat Haqparast. I've never seen him fight, so I have no reason to think that. But yeah, he's he's used to this sort of competition, I think. So I don't expect him to get completely blown out of the water. And Haqparast to me is still pretty one-dimensional. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If I'm feeling froggy after I get back from a dog walk, maybe we throw something on him at like plus 500 if he gets there, because this seems like a chalky card. So I expect every favorite that you see is probably going to be a bigger number than they are right now. Speaking of which, bantamweight division, we've got a Hani Rara taking on a Hey Rodriguez.
Hani Rara.
I don't understand how his name is Ronnie when it starts with an R and he's Brazilian.
And they don't pronounce it like that.
How is it not Honey?
I don't know.
It should be Honey Yahya. But whatever. Honey Boo Boo. He's a big favorite. Minus like 3 or getting up to minus 300. Ray Rodriguez likes to get subbed. Is it this easy? It seems like it's too easy, Sean.
I think it might be. Hani Yahya is a guy that you want like plus 200, plus 250 odds on, and he'll pull a sub out of his ass. It's a little tougher laying the juice on him just because it does get sketchy in there. His stand-up is fairly rudimentary, but I don't think he's going to need it. I think he's going to sub this guy. Probably happens in round 1. I know there was a nice prop, nicely priced prop on him in sub round 1. I might just take sub. I might take inside the distance. I haven't figured it out yet, but Ray Rodriguez got subbed by Brian Kelleher and Chris Gutierrez. I feel like Hani Yahya should be able to sub him, but this is MMA, so dumb shit happens.
Wes?
Yeah, what Sean said is all pretty spot on. And, Rodriguez just, even in a lot of his wins, he's got subs and shit because he finds himself on the mat and scrambles and shit. And it's like, this is the wrong guy. Like, say whatever you will about Ronnie's stand-up, which isn't great, but it gets the job done. It gives him enough time to get the fight to where he needs it. And man, this ain't close on the mat. I think Ronnie gets a sub here. Was around even money or so. I think anything at a little bit of plus money is a very fair price for Yahya by sub here.
Yeah, we think about Yahya as a guy that if he doesn't get that sub in round 1, he gasses and he loses. But he's got
the Simone fight kind of.
I mean, that's different.
Yeah,
Ricky Simone is a giant, strong 135er. But Yahya has 6 subs in his UFC career. 3 of them have been in the first round. 3 have been after the first round. 2 of them have actually been in the third round. So if you're willing to grapple with him, he can out-grapple you for 15 minutes. That's not where he's going to gas. He might get tired doing it, but he's still going to beat your ass grappling. Like he's that good of a grappler. Ray Rodriguez is not going to out-grapple him at any point in this fight. And Yahya's not an easy guy to put away. I don't have his record in front of me right now, but has anybody other than Benavidez way back in the day gotten him out of there?
He has, of course, he has 2 KO losses and 1 submission loss. So Kid
Yamamoto soccer kicked him and K1 Dynamite 2007.
Yeah,
like straight up.
That was the only one before Benavidez.
Yeah, and the rest he's gone like 15 with Mazugaki, Mike Brown, Chad Mendez. I mean, yeah, he's gone 3 rounds with legit guys. Yeah.
So if you think that if Yahya doesn't get the sub in round 1, he's in trouble here, I'm not buying into that. Ray Rodriguez is not great. He's most of his wins are by sub. He's got a couple decent wins against like Jimmy Flick and guys like that, but Jimmy Flick is not the grappler that Hani Yahya is. So, man, I think Yahya wins this fight. He probably gets the sub here. Even money on that is all right. I would probably take that. Originally, I was leaning round one, and then kind of thought better of it, and not going to be too greedy on this one. Featherweight division, we have Charles Jourdain taking on Marcelo Rojo. Rojo means red in Spanish. I will have you know. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that means he bleeds a lot.
Over 1.5 losses for Canadians on this card, Brad.
Under, baby. 0.
Brad.
0.
You know better than that. Yeah, I don't really know who Marcelo Rojo is. I know he lost to John Castaneda, which, I mean, yeah, he did flatline Eddie Wineland, but that doesn't mean much in 2021. It's not really that good. So I
he was
think
also getting pieced up by Eddie Wineland before he knocked him out.
So I expect Jourdain to be able to put it on. This guy, he's only won 1 decision. He's lost 2 decisions in 22 fights. So I think Jourdain probably finishes this guy, but I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. Jourdain should win this fight, but there's absolutely no way I'm laying juice on that kid. I do not believe in him whatsoever, and that's about it.
So a couple things on this fight. Rojo was brought in to get absolutely steamrolled by Barcelos, which would have happened. But Barcelos is a 135er. He's coming up to 145 for this fight. Rojo's last 4 losses, all by submission. 2 of them in the 3rd round, 1 of them in the 2nd round, 1 in the 1st round to some Russian. That's real bad. Jourdain hasn't really showed off his sub game in the UFC, but he's got a decent guillotine and that sort of stuff. So I'm feeling like this is something where Rojo comes out hot because he's going to be outsized and he's got to land something big against Jourdain, which he just saw a dude in his last fight do that. But Jourdain was able to survive and come back and get the draw. So I think that Jourdain might have to go through a bit early in this fight, but I'm pretty sure that he comes back and gets a finish. So I did take a little bit of that round 3. 365 has it at plus 1100. I think that Jourdain can get that done. And then also Jourdain's sub is at plus 550 now, but it opened at plus 765. And I managed to grab a little bit of that because I think he can tap this dude out. So a couple little props on this one. I still think even the sub at plus 550 is all right in this fight. So we will see where that takes us. Next up, a fight that we've talked about.
We already broke it down. We don't need to break it down again.
I'm changing my breakdown just so the people have to listen again. Angela Hill, Ashley Yoder, strawweight division. Sean?
I keep betting Hill by decision, and this fight keeps getting canceled, and I keep getting a worse number, and I'm still going to bet it. It's minus 170. I bet it for a unit. This should be pretty damn close to what her money line is, considering I don't think she finishes Yoder. Yoder's tough. Yeah, I think it's going to be a decision.
Wes?
Hill by decision.
All right. So originally I had Hill by decision.
All right.
Originally, this was a short notice fight for Ashley Yoder. Mm-hmm. Her corner faked a false positive so that they could get the fight rebooked. so she could get a full camp in. And now, Ashley Yoder is here to win this, folks. She's gonna take Angela Hill down with some head and arms, and it's gonna be awful. And the only reason I'm saying this is because before whatever card they were supposed to fight on last time, I had a prop round robin that had Munoz by decision, and Yoder by decision was one of the legs. So if Yoder wins this by decision, I'll have a nice little cash because that's a 300 and a 600. So
Jesus.
Yoder by decision. There it is. That's my logic. So I can win a bet.
There you go.
All right, moving up to the main card, middleweight division. Your boy, I'm not sure whose boy, but not my boy, Eric Anders, taking on, not sure whose dentist, but somebody's dentist, Darren Stewart. Sean, who claims these people?
I have no idea. I don't want any part of this fight. Eric Anders is flaky as all hell. He's just not that good. I thought there was a spot there where he was continuing to get good, but there was also some little hints in there that he wasn't. That Tim Williams fight that he ended up finishing in the third, he probably should have lost that fight. If Williams doesn't get knocked out in the third, he probably wins. So he's been able to get some wins, but against some very poor fighters. I don't think Stewart's anything special, but he's probably the better fighter, but not laying minus 175 on the dentist, because he's probably not gonna be able to get takedowns. So this is gonna be on the feet a lot or in the clinch a lot, and I just don't want that kind of money.
Stop stealing Lance's joke. He's only got one.
Very true.
Yeah, I'm with Sean. Like, there was a small window there. I really thought Anders was going to be good, but he's just really not. He's one of those guys that is indeed a supreme athlete. But I don't think he's a fighter. And I'm not saying that I don't think he's tough enough to be a fighter, because he's absolutely tough enough. He makes so many mental mistakes and stuff in fights, gets in just bad situations. And then now all the beatings, my God, that man has been hit in the head so many fucking times at this point. It's not good.
And MMA, like
I was gonna say, and then he transitioned to an MMA career.
Yeah,
it's thinner than pudding at this point.
The one thing that you could say good is that the dude actually took some time off this time. Like, he was like jumping back into these fights after just severe beatings, but I just think Darren Stewart's just a tougher guy here. You know, Darren Stewart's going to stay in this fight and put a pace on Anders. I wish this line was closer, because I would play Stewart. But like Sean said, Anders is flaky, but he's flaky both ways. He could pull some shit out of his ass. The dude still hits hard. I wouldn't be shocked if he caught Stewart with something, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just wish this line was a little tighter, because I think Stewart's he's a good above average fighter, man. You know what you're going to get out of Darren Stewart when he comes out there. He's going to give an honest effort. He's not going to find a way out. So I think he wins, but do I want to lay minus 175? No. If the line tightens up a little more, I might bet Stewart, but just a pick at this point.
Yeah, this seems like a weird one. Did you guys hear Turk dreaming in the background, by the way? Yeah, that's what that sound was. He's never really in fights where he blows a guy out. He's always in competitive fights. I thought he had a decent case to win the Holland fight, which means something to people in 2020. I still, when Holland and Brunson comes around, I think you'll get my opinion on that. But man, I just see this being like two guys, not a lot of volume, probably a lot of shit happening in the clinch. It feels like it's going to be a very close fight, regardless of who wins, which makes me kind of tempted to bet Anders by decision because it's plus 300. But
just do what Brad says on this fight. Some weird shit's gonna happen. He's gonna have the prop at like plus 300, plus 400.
He's gonna have the ticket you want.
It's gonna, yep.
It's not even something that like I want to bet, but I just feel like the way this is gonna play out, it kind of leans towards that. So we'll see. But man, Stewart's been facing the way better competition and has been looking better against that competition. Although, split decision against Jourdain win. But a split decision that you should have lost in a striking match to Gerald Meerschaert by Anders. So there's a lot of grossness in this fight. Next up, this is a tremendous fight, actually. I think this is going to be very entertaining, and it's one of the bright spots on this card. Flyweight division. We have Matheus Nicolau returning to the UFC, taking on the Kape man. Sean?
Yeah, I think after that Pantoja fight, Kape is going to bring the heat like he normally does in fights. I don't know if he got octagon jitters. I don't know if he was just worried about the competition, and Pantoja is dangerous, but like
he was actually facing a good fighter for once.
Yeah, he was facing a good fighter. He just didn't throw like it wasn't like Pantoja was really like shutting him down with just so much volume. It's just, I don't know. It seemed like he just didn't want to pull the trigger. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think he got that one out of the way, and I think he's going to bring it to Nicolau. Nicolau's a tough guy to get a read on. He very rarely fights. He didn't fight last year. And in 2019 was the first time he fought twice in a year since 2014. Dude just never fights. He is dangerous from what we've seen. So I think this is going to be a fun fight. I don't have a bet on it. I was looking at doesn't go to decision. I think both these guys have the capability of finishing the other. It is kind of dicey laying juice on a doesn't go in a flyweight fight, but this might be one of those ones that it might be worth it. I'll pick Kape to finish Nicolau though.
Ooh, there we go. Wesley?
Yeah, I like fight. I do think Nicolau is decent. He's one of those Nova Yao kickboxers that are, at this point are more kickboxers than what they use, any sort of jiu-jitsu for, even though a lot of them's fairly decent at it. This is just a different fight for Kape than Pantoja was. Like, I think this is going to pretty much take place in his world, where I think maybe Nicolau has the same amount of striking power as him. I don't know that for sure. But I'm fairly certain Kape is the more technical guy here, and the sort of fight where I think this is going to take place. And Sean's right. Definitely some octagon jitters, man. He's never really fought like that. I've watched him quite a bit in Japan, and that dude usually throws down and throws heat without kind of being timid like that. And the guy he had in front of him was just a really, really good fighter. Like Pantoja is upwards of top 5 level guy. That was a serious test in his first fight. And even though I think Nicolau is a good dude, he's not on Pantoja's level. He's not that dynamic and that well-rounded. The things that Kape had to worry about in that fight that stopped him from getting his striking off, I don't think those are there in this fight. So yeah, I think this is a good matchup for him. This is about as good a matchup as you're going to get with a fairly named guy, I guess. I don't know. He hasn't been in the UFC in a couple years. And I mean, even back before he left and got a couple wins. I mean, this dude got knocked the fuck out by Dustin Ortiz, man. Like, can we like calm down a little bit about him being a superior striker and shit? Like, I've seen a little bit. He's got, thunder in his hands. I just don't see that. This is going to be a point fighting kickboxing match, and I'm going to take the more dynamic guy in that, and I'm betting Kape.
Is that something people have actually said? He's got like big power in his hands.
Power and he's as good a kickboxer and has power as Kape. And I don't. Maybe he has a little the same power. He's not a better kickboxer than Kape is. That's just crazy.
I think if he's got any advantage in this fight, it's on the ground.
Oh yeah. Still got a black belt, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's got a black belt under Pedernera, so like he's got an advantage if this hits the ground, but I don't think it ever does. I don't think that Cap has the same problem that he's going to have in the Pantoja fight, where there's a guy who is better than him everywhere that is willing to wait on him to do stuff. Nicolau is going to come forward and he's going to throw some shit. And Kape is going to answer back. And I think he's going to answer back pretty big in this one. And even if that's not the way it plays out, I think even the way that the Pantoja fight happened, he's not going to come out and be passive like he was in that one. I think he's going to come out and we're going to see the real Kape. And it's just, I think he can catch him. I think he can clip him early. If he doesn't, I still think he can win a decision. But one of my books had a plus 450 on Kape round 1, and I had to take a little sliver of that because that's what he's done throughout most of his career. Granted, it's been against tiny Asian men, but tiny Asian. Tiny Brazilian, there's some mix there. Like, look at the Machitas. There's some intermingling. So I think that Cap gets it done. Don't mind playing him straight, but kind of keeping it small this card and just going for some props. So I've got that plus 450 round 1. Next up, bantamweight division again. Lots of bantamweight fights the last couple of weeks. And this one feels like it should be a bit of a showcase, but you never know. We might get some of that British grappling. Jonathan Martinez taking on Davy Grant. Man, do you remember, Wes, hanging out in Vegas, watching Davy Grant get armbarred by Damian Stasiak?
I do.
That was ugly.
We at least got Hendo Bisbing that night, so it wasn't that was Hendo Bisbing, right? Yeah.
That's when we all lost money on fucking what's his face against Leonardo Santos.
Was
Adriano
Martinez?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of us lost money on Hendo too when he was beating Bisbing all around. A fight doesn't go to decision, and both of these dudes are laid out multiple times and shit. Oh, good times. Good times.
Anyway, Sean, what do we got here? The Dragon, or I don't know what Davy Grant's dangerous Davy.
Dangerous. I think some people, I'm not saying the people on this podcast, but some people are getting a bit hyped up on Jonathan Martinez after his win against Thomas Almeida. I think that's a decent stylistic matchup for him. Almeida is a name, but I think Almeida's skills don't really match his name anymore. This dude has terrible takedown defense. You got taken down three times by Soup Kantai. You got taken down by fucking who else took you down? Oh shit! I lost.
You're gonna make me pull up the UFC. Keep talking, I'll find it.
He lost. He got taken down by something called Wuliji Buren.
That's not a real thing.
That's not a real thing. But 3 times he took him down. Frankie Saenz took him down. This dude has some bad takedown defense. Now, I'm not saying that Davey Grant has good takedown offense, but he does go for takedowns against shitty guys. Fair enough, but he gets them. I think he could fucking take down Jonathan Martinez and maybe sub him on the ground. This is my dart of the night. I tossed 3/4 of a unit on Davey Grant at plus 265 and a quarter unit on him inside the distance at plus 620.
Wesley.
Yeah, I mean, for one, I'm not as confident in any of this shit on this fight as Sean apparently is. He thinks that
not confident at all.
Davey Grant's walking out here with Mark Kerr level fucking MMA wrestling and shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're definitely right that Martinez has been, taken down a little bit in the past, but I think he's a little bit better fighter than those times. He's looked just considerably all around way better in his past couple fights. I haven't bet anything on this fight. I was looking to parlay Martinez with something. I like something a little later. I'm trying to find a leg for Martinez is being considered. But the line is getting it's a little wide, man. I get trying to make the case in the angle to take a little shot here. I wouldn't be doing it on Davey Grant in this spot. Like I don't think that guy's great. Yeah, maybe he does get Martinez down once or twice. Martinez does scramble really well. Like in his fights, he's been taken down. He's not held there a tremendous amount of time. But multiple takedowns in a round could win it for Grant. I guess I could see that. I'm not banking on that happening. I think Martinez just kind of grinds out. I guess it'll be a decent fight, but probably a decision here. I don't know if I can lay that kind of juice on him though, man. It's probably a little closer than that line, but Martinez wins this for me here, man. I can't back Davey Grant. That's just not gonna happen.
I didn't really have an opinion on this fight, but I'm starting to form one. Just it's percolating. Sean, the takedown statistics, they help. Wes, I feel like I got to go against that decision thought though for Martinez, because Davey Grant got clipped pretty good by Martin Day, a lot in that fight.
He always gets clipped.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, he always gets clipped.
Yeah, I don't think that if he gets clipped like that against Martinez that he survives. But on the other hand, that takedown defense is pretty rough, and Grant is probably the bigger submission threat. So maybe we take a little poke at Grant by sub at plus 1290. It's a massive number. Maybe we take that poke, but I think the better one could be under 2.5 is plus 155 right now. It doesn't go as plus 120, and I as much as I would like to side with Sean and think that the underdog's got a shot here, I think it's more likely that there's some big physical speed, power advantages for Martinez. Davey Grant is extremely hittable, and starting to not wear it quite as well. So I think Martinez could get him out of there. So I might look at that under 2.5 in this one, but Martinez should win. I don't completely trust him.
That Bishop Auckland, England wrestling, baby.
Oh, that's right. Elite.
All right, moving up to the featherweight division. The rest of the card is a little mooky in the co-main event, but not too bad. We've got Dan Edge. I don't know. You guys correct me.
Edge. Brad's right. If you
want me to pronounce your name with 2 syllables, you got to give me more than 3 letters. Come on, man. What are you doing here? He's taking on the noofiest newfie that has ever noofed, Gavin Tucker. Sean, how do you feel about our friends that are like half Scottish, half Irish, and
it's like another world. People? That's Canada's Kentucky right there.
Is it for real? Where's that at Halifax?
A whole different other language that we don't even. We need a translator.
I can understand people from Halifax. I cannot understand people from Newfoundland.
Yeah, it's a different world out there. I'm gonna probably end up losing a bunch of money fading Gavin Tucker.
Yeah, you are.
He really surprised me against Billy Quarantillo. I guess I was just a bit too high on Billy Q. Those takedowns were a big deal in that fight. I don't know if he's going to have as much success against Dan Ige. Ige has been taken down, but it's against guys that are pretty decent wrestlers. I've liked Ige. I thought he did better than I expected him to do against Cater. I did think he lost the Barboza fight, but he was still competitive with Edson Barboza. I think this is a big step up for Gavin Tucker. It's just a small bet. I got Ige by decision at plus 157. As we've seen, as I witnessed in real life, Gavin Tucker can take a absolute monster beating to where his face looks deformed and not quit. So I think Ige can edge a decision here.
Ooh, Wesley.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that Tucker is 34 years old. I did not think he was that old.
He got to the UFC late.
Yeah, it was real late. Yeah, Sean's right about that Glenn. That was bad. I remember at the time we all just said that's a career changing beating, but
it was. He got real good after that.
What the fuck?
Surprisingly, he came out of that and has looked fantastic. And we absolutely overrated Billy Q. We absolutely did. Even though Tucker looked good in that fight, Billy Q looked pretty bad. I'm not going to give that all to Tucker. Like Billy Q just we overhyped him completely. But that was still a good win. I still think Billy Q's decent. And especially the way he won it. Like that was a dominant win over a decent guy. Yeah, I mean this it's tough to me because Ige's just, man, we say that Tucker's 34, Ige's like 29, but man, he's had some beatings put on him in the past few years, been in some brutal fights. Absolutely lost to Barboza. That's one of the worst decisions for me personally ever. Like, not the money I lost on that, and just I didn't think that fight was really close. Maybe not saying that, just rehashing it, but Brad explained it better. If you're scoring one of those rounds for Barboza, you were scoring both of those rounds for Barboza, and the one where he got the takedown, and it was horrible. But I see pass for Tucker here, man. Like Ige's got decent takedown defense, but I think that Tucker could get in and bully on him and make this a grindy fight, and maybe sneak in a trip or something like that. I think the striking is fairly even here. Tucker's striking has looked fairly decent over his past few fights. So, I mean, at plus money here against a guy who I think even at 34 is kind of still getting better, to a guy that I think is decent but probably peaked and has taken some damage over the past few years. I'm going to take the old kind of up and comer here, that kind of the older, fresher guy, I think, in my opinion. And mainly because, I think the line's a little bit off here. So it's just a small shot. I do think it's a close fight. And I think a lot of Ige, like Sean said, I've bet on him quite a bit. And he's been a very consistent fighter over the years. You know what you're getting out of him. But plus money on Tucker here, I'm going to take a small shot.
Yeah, Ige, first of all, Ige is the reason that I was extremely confident in Max Holloway against Calvin Kattar. Because Ige was pretty competitive with him. And I figured if that was the case, that Holloway wouldn't be. So that's one thing. Like I don't think too highly of Ige. He's extremely durable. He's got good cardio. But when you start using those things to describe a guy before you start talking about his skills, it's rarely a good thing. And he wins fights where he's able to get shitty decisions, because that Barbosa one was one of the worst decisions of 2020. I maintain that. Or where he's just able to like out tough and outlast guys like Bektic. And, you know, I don't want to say it was too competitive against Kevin Aguilar, but that's a guy that at his level, you know, he should be blowing out of the water. And he didn't. He had the one knockdown, but it was a relatively competitive fight outside of that round. So when I look at this fight, I see a guy in Tucker that I don't think Ige's able to bully. I think if he tries that, he's probably going to end up on his back. And if this turns into like a patient sort of kickboxing match, I actually think that Tucker is a little bit more technical than Ige. I think he can outpoint him in that sort of fight. So I give Tucker a couple advantages here. And then I check out the line, and you know, he's more than plus 130, creeping up to plus 140 at Bet Online. So I think I'm going to end up on Tucker here. I haven't bet him yet. This feels like the sort of fight where the line's going to move a bit more in Ige's favor. So I'm going to wait on it until, you know, tomorrow or fight day. But I like Gavin Tucker in this one. So I'm back in 2 for 2 on Canadians, baby.
Oh, fuck. And speaking of
co-main event, we've got Ryan Spann taking on Latvian Misha Cirkunov. That's why you got to go under. That's why it's under 1.5, Sean.
This motherfucker's Canadian. Get out of here.
Oh, so Jillian Robertson's not Canadian. Felicia Spencer's not Canadian.
Different. It's different.
Misha Cirkunov, Ryan Spann, co-main event, light heavyweight division, title shot on the line.
In this division, you're only one fight away. As with any Misha Cirkunov fight, you're going to be clenched. Probably for the first 3 minutes, unless he is on top at that point already. He can be hit. That chin is very questionable. That is always a scary thing to to deal with when you have money on Misha Cirkunov. But in this matchup, I think he can get Spann down. I think he can sub him. Cirkunov's sub game is very, very legit. It's the part where he needs to get on the ground is the scary part. But I think even on the feet, Spann's hittable too. He got cracked against Sam Alvey in 2020. Not the greatest sign. Arguably could have almost lost that fight. And then he was doing good in the Johnny Walker fight, and then got put in a bad position and was done. So I think Cirkunov can get takedowns. I think he could maybe even drop him on the feet and get him to the ground, but eventually I think he gets on top and he subs Ryan Spann. So I got Misha Cirkunov by sub at plus 230 for a unit. Sketchy Russian book comes in the clutch.
Wes?
Yeah, I just think Cirkunov's got, more ways to win this fight. Sean's right. That chin's up a little shaky. But man, if this gets to the mat, like Cirkunov's got some legit submission skills. The choke he pulled off on my boy Jimmy Crute was just some beautiful stuff, man. Like big guys usually don't have a lot of that kind of stuff in their toolbox, but I thought a lot of Spann kind of early. I just think he's average, man. Like Sean said, he can tag by Alvey. Johnny Walker is not who anybody thought he was going to be. You're getting knocked out by Johnny Walker. Yeah, he was doing okay in that fight, but that just shows you that that's another way for Cirkunov to win. Like Spann can be caught on the feet. He can be knocked out. He can be caught. We've seen him hurt in the past, even before the UFC, or maybe it was his Contender Series fight, one of them, but early on he got hurt and finished. So yeah, just more well-rounded fighter. I'm praying that Cirkunov gets us to the mat cleanly, and we don't have to have some clinch factor going on while they're on the feet swinging too much. But man, at this price, I'm going to take just who I think is just the better guy here. So Cirkunov, absolute bet for me. It's on a really hard card to find some good bets. I like Cirkunov pretty good here.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying that I've bet Cirkunov. He's my only sort of real bet of the card. The rest is all just sort of props and bullshit like that I'm taking pokes at. So I've got Cirkunov at minus 125. I like that line. As the guy said, he's got a lot of ways to win this fight. He could land something on the feet and get him out of there. He could take him down, sub him, or pound him out. He could take him down, not sub him. But Spann's takedown defense is so bad that even when Cirkunov gasses first, Spann will also be gassed by that point. Cirkunov can just keep taking him down. We've seen him be able to do that in the past against like Cutlevia. He was able to get takedowns and control him deep into the fight. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that. And honestly, Spann's only been subbed once in his career. He got subbed by Robert Drysdale. That dude's a pretty good grappler. Other than that, his submission game is pretty good. So I think, going out on a limb here, I think that Cirkunov gets takedowns, does a little bit of work on top, can't get Spann out of there. Both of them are gassed as fuck by the end of the first round. And then Cirkunov gets a takedown in round 2. And then Cirkunov gets a takedown in round 3. And then I cash a bet on Misha Cirkunov by decision at plus 650. Because Bet 365 had that one. And it's just, I'm a sucker for that big number. So I'm going to take that. But the real bet here is Misha Cirkunov, money line, minus 125. And that is the MMA Analysis consensus bet of the week. Lance didn't show up. It was going to be. Yep. Yeah. Last. Baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Greatest cash.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, man. Oh, and yeah. Yeah, that was.
This was going to be Munich, but Lance didn't show up. So it doesn't count. So fuck him. Munich cashed last week too. That was Tim Elliott. A little bit less of a sweat than Sterling.
Yeah, I mean we was zooming and
no, it was Dominic Cruz who was the Munich last week, Brad.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
They're all winners.
We could have
many bets.
Yeah. When
as long as we didn't make it Joey B.
Yeah.
He was close. When he close? I think that was close to being something.
No.
Just talked about.
It was talked about. It was discussed. It was down on the list, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, Misha Cirkunov, consensus bet of the week, minus 125. Take that. Lots of ways to win. Might get knocked out. But you're getting even money that he doesn't. Main event. I mean, could the nickname battle be any better here? You got remember the name against the guy who's nobody, whose name nobody remembers.
Oh, that's great.
Leon Edwards is, he's returning from another planet, or I don't know where this guy's been, but he's fighting. He's not fighting the greatest of all time. Exactly.
COVID lung, apparently.
You got to wonder if the motivation is there when you're not facing, a top flight guy like Kazrat.
How can you be the greatest ever when you can't even beat COVID, motherfucker? Like, get out of here.
Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. Sean, what's going on here?
I know we, and especially Lance, give what's-his-face a lot of shit. He is a pretty good fighter when he fights. He has a pretty good game. Unfortunately, it matches up very poorly against the champion, but against most other fighters in that division, his takedowns are good enough, and his striking is good as well. This is a huge step up for Belal Muhammad. I don't think he's fought anyone near Edwards' level. I know he's got a good takedown percentage, but who has he fought that can actually wrestle? I expect Edwards to get takedowns here, wear out Belal Muhammad. I think eventually he submits or TKOs him later in the fight, probably in the 4th round. Edwards is going to make, he knows he's not going to get a title shot unless he does something big here. I think that's going to force him to be aggressive. I know that's a bit concerning because that might open him up for some stuff, but I don't think Muhammad can really take advantage and put Leon out.
He can't finish anybody.
Yeah, he can't finish Diego Lima. He's not going to finish Leon Edwards. So I expect this to be a pretty dominating win for Leon Edwards. I laid it at -260. I didn't really like anything to parlay him with. I got a unit and a half, and then I took Edwards inside the distance at plus 250 for 1 unit.
There you go, Wes.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy fight for Leon Edwards, and I like Belal. He's just not taking the step to be on this level. And even if you look at his last fight, if you can't tee off on the shitty Lima for like 2 rounds, man, clean shit, and not get that guy out of there, you got no chance here. I mean, his only chance is to getting something on Leon Edwards to where he gets respect or hurts him. Like, that's his only chance. He's not gonna sit there and win some kind of boxing match with, like, Leon Edwards is better everywhere than Belal Muhammad. I see him being on his back a lot. I think Edwards is going to get on top of him and do some work. And yeah, Sean's right. Like, we give a lot of shit to Leon Edwards because he doesn't fight and shit. And yeah, he's good. He's a really good MMA fighter. It's sad that he'll never be champ. His game is not good enough to beat the champ here, but man, he beats a lot of guys in this division. I was hammering him against Hazmat. I mean, you talking about a hammer time? Like, I was MC Hammer parachute pants dancing, hammering that shit because he was gonna roll Hazmat. I think he rolls Belal here too, and I think the line's kind of low. I mean, I can kind of understand Sean just saying fuck it and laying it because it's probably should be at least $1 higher. I'm trying to find a parlay piece. I'll probably end up getting him in just some other stupid sports stuff. I want to find something on the card to at least post with him because I want it. I have a hard time getting up over 200. But yeah, I want to find something so I can post a play for everybody because I think it's a really good parlay piece. Like, Leon Edwards is about as good as you're going to get it around a -200 fave, I believe. I think Sean's right too. I think he probably gets a finish here. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be because I think he's going to be on top, raining a lot of shit down on Belal Muhammad for big chunks of this fight. And I mean, what do you do with the guy after that? Nobody knows Leon Edwards. They don't know him. I don't know what you do after this, but we'll see. We'll see how he looks after this fight. Easy win for Edwards.
So my breakdown of this fight was, how can I possibly care less about Leon Edwards? And I was like, he was coming back. We're like, hey, he's going to fight this stupid Russian guy that everyone thinks is great. And he's going to beat him, and he's going to be an underdog. And hey, maybe I'll get on the Leon Edwards train. And then that fight gets canceled. And now he's fighting a guy who, like, people say that Belal's in fun fights, but when you know his fights are always going to go to decision if he wins, how fun really is it? So the only way I could care less about Leon Edwards than I already do is if he comes out in this fight, and he saw it happen just a month ago. Diego Lima was just chopping Belal down with the calf kicks, baby.
Oh, the nasty.
Yeah, he was. That's right. Yeah, he was. He had him all fucked up. I forgot about that.
So you've got whoever was on commentary that night talking about how, I think it might have been Rogan because it was a pay-per-view. Yeah. You're talking about how Belal's going to have to get his leg amputated. And, oh my God, this dude's never faced so much punishment. And now he's back a month later against, like, an actual fighter. This is not going to go well for Belal Muhammad. I actually think that Edwards is probably going to come out and calf kick him a shitload of times. He's going to get on top of him. And I think there's enough of a shot at that submission that the sub prop at, it was like plus 1,000. I think it was plus 1,200 somewhere I saw. That I got to take a little shot at that. Because
what is that? What?
Belal is tough as shit. I don't think that Leon's going to get him out of there with strikes because he doesn't have a ton of power. But this is a huge physical mismatch. And I know that people are trying to say that if it stays on the feet, it's going to be competitive. I don't really think it's going to be that close. No. And I don't think it's going to be on the feet all that often because Edwards can, for a British dude, he can wrestle a little bit. He's going to get a lot of top control. I think he's going to do some damage. He's going to control Belal. And, man, the amount of stuff Belal went through last month against Diego Lima, and now he's turning around and fighting an actual dude, unless Edwards is like completely out of shape or something like that from not fighting in so long, which I don't think he is, because he's had training camps and then fights have just kept falling out. I think Edwards rolls here. I really don't hate that Sean just laid it. But I think we've got the Bruins of a pretty good prop round robin for this card. With
still a plus 1025 on the sub.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's worth a little poke. So you got that. You got
inside the distance is like plus 250. That's not horrible either. Jesus.
I think I'll take the 4 times bigger number.
Yeah.
That's just the way I do these things.
That's how Brad rolls.
Hey, you give me 4 digits on a prop that has a shot, and I'll take it. So we got like Jourdain sub or round 3. We got Edwards sub. We've got Cirkunov TKO maybe. That's around plus 1,000. There's Kape round 1.
Brad's trying to grab a 4-digit prop on Saturday. That's for damn sure.
There's going to be some big numbers that we're playing on Saturday. Yep. But that is going to do it. Way too long breaking down this card. Although we only took about an hour actually breaking down this card. Most of it was talking about last week's shit show. But it was a good time. We'll be back next week to... what do we got coming up next week? Is it good?
Brunson,
it's a
Holland.
bit of hit and miss.
Yeah, couple
Brunson
decent
versus
fights,
Holland.
Brunson and Holland, and you're giving me Derek Brunson at plus 150.
That go ahead and write that down. I'm betting Derek Brunson as an underdog.
I swear there was a time, Wes, when you said you'd never bet that guy again.
Derek Brunson is not the same fighter that he was when he was running around the cage doing a Todd Duffy. That's he's a little bit
Whitaker.
He's a little bit different guy. I'm more interested in the return of old Gregor. I got to see how this guy looks.
After he got flatlined,
coming back off of one of the
Bernie Sanders, bitch.
Oh shit, we got the dude that wins like once every 3 years and it hasn't lost. And
Leo Santos is plus 170.
Yep, he's back, baby.
You know what? Just a quick look at this card. I don't hate it from a betting perspective.
There's some spots.
This week is pretty rough. Next week, I think we'll have a little bit of fun talking about this one. Happy birthday to Lance. Even though he didn't show up, I guess we can allow that on a birthday. But
to the cottage.
Yeah, that's right. the Tennessee cottage. We'll be back next week to break down Brunson and Holland. Until then, enjoy the fights, folks.